All right. Last we left you all, you were up to shenanigans.
I don't know what you're talking
Of
about.
all
There's no
sorts.
shenanigans in this show.
There were many shenanigans,
No way,
actually,
not
in
us.
fact. Not us. And the biggest shenanigans, actually, probably was Wedler,
I don't know what you're talking about.
who is currently digging up graves.
Okay.
so bad.
Okay, so for the record, I'm not digging up a grave. My plan is to dig under them and figure out what's been going on. So if Wedler were to do this, Wedler would actually come at it from outside the fence, like over where Tent City is, right next to it, dig down and across so that there's no evidence that he defiled a grave, basically.
Okay. So from Tent Town, okay.
Yeah, so it'll be about a 30-foot dig or so. No, not even, like a 20-foot dig, because
How much time does Wedler want to spend digging?
all night, if that's what it takes. Like, Wedler, this is what he does. He loves to dig and pick up rocks. So I imagine
Okay.
his little pickaxe, has like a flat end for dirt,
Sure.
and then, a sharp end for stone if he comes across it. But yeah, he'll know that he needs to dig down about 8 to 10, right? Probably 10 to get under, and then across. And his hope is that he'll burrow into somebody else's tunnel.
Yeah, sure.
That is his hope. And he's out there in the middle like,
Yeah.
and he's like singing and digging and this is what he's built for.
Okay. Is he trying to do this inconspicuously?
Yeah, I guess we're in some trouble. He would. There's not an empty tent nearby, is there, in Tent City?
No, I would say there isn't, but it's quite kind of ramshackle and close knit, so maybe you could find kind of a spot that's
I was
sort
hoping
of
to
hidden
maybe
between tents.
my little hole that I go down into could possibly be somewhat hidden. In my hope was that nobody comes down to Tent City, so it would make that easy. So yeah, I somewhere
Except
over
the
there.
people who live in Tent City.
Right, but they're
Tent Town. It's not quite a city yet.
Tent Town. They're my
getting there.
friends. They'll be fine.
They just got a Walmart now.
Yeah, if they ask, I'll tell them I'm digging a new latrine or something.
Posh.
That's pretty good. Okay. I like that. All right. I would like you to tell me which grave is your target.
Which one looks the most sunken?
Yeah, I would say the one that's closest to the fence in the middle.
So this
On
one?
your side,
That's
yeah.
the one. That's the one thing. Because if it's already sunken, all I got to do is just get under
Yep.
it, and then I'll at least be able to answer questions as to what's going
Sure.
on. So yeah, he's gonna go like down under the fence
Mm-hmm.
and just up underneath it, and see maybe what's going down.
I like that. Athletics check.
Okay.
And if you have any sort of bonuses for excavating or digging.
I was about to say,
or-
I don't know that I do, because there's actually I looked for a background or a feat, and there just wasn't quite one that's like, you like to dig holes.
No.
But I will say, well, I
Opportunity for the next
yeah,
book.
Okay.
yeah, hole digger, please. Prospector.
Yeah.
Dig.
I'm gonna just double check and make sure that there is no question about it. Okay, actually, Wedler is a bit of a survivalist. Before he starts digging, little known to most, he is a ranger, actually.
Sure.
And his favored terrain is the wasteland. He's just going to take that hot minute to focus and use one of his ranger spell slots here at the end of the day to sense whether or not there are any of the following creatures present within a mile of me, so just this general area. That would be aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fays, fiends, and undead.
Okay. How many feet? That you can see.
Up to
correct?
a mile.
Up to a mile.
So you can sense
Yeah.
whether the following types of creatures are present within a mile. It's kind of like a
Yeah.
it's
Almost like
very
an
good.
echolocation of some sort,
Yeah.
like a sonic wave.
Within
And you know what he
a mile.
does? He takes his
Yeah.
pickaxe and like a fork or something metal and goes, and so he has a moment to listen for
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. Is there any rules about obscured?
No, because it's
they
basically
have certain
spending a
senses can't go
ranger
through
spell
walls
slot
and-
for awareness on the region around you.
Okay. All right. The vibrations come back fairly strong
Oh.
for undead.
He grabs the end of his pickaxe to stop it from vibrating. He takes a minute and he's like, I'm about to dig this hole under all of these coffins. And he has that moment again where, do I throw the dynamite? Do not throw the dynamite? Yeah, let's do it. And he'll, and he, you see him kind of pat the whistle that was given to him by Sully, knowing Sully is not too far away. In case he's distressed,
Yes.
he can call.
Okay.
So he will still, but at least he knows maybe what he's going to potentially run into.
Okay.
Does the spell just only give you? Is it there or
Yeah,
not?
it doesn't. It
give
just he doesn't ping it. So within a mile, we know there is undead within a mile of where Wedler is currently standing, which I know is a big space that could cover the whole town. But at least maybe we know better now than we did before. Yeah. Okay. Let's get that athletics. Everybody, hold your breath.
You got this.
I could really use better.
Can we roll it in the
rolls.
middle there for Forge Gaming?
Yes.
Hang on, Julian.
Forge gods.
What do we got there?
8. That only makes it a 10 with my athletics.
Okay. See, it's a slow start.
Yeah.
And we're gonna say, you start digging away. This is gonna take a while.
You know what?
No?
Let me. Okay. This is actually cool too. He has baubles, and there is an actual. It's not just a Wedler thing. This build for the Ranger actually, Dust Goblins can make baubles into tool proficiencies.
Huh.
So as he begins digging, he realizes that maybe the earth isn't right for his pickaxe, and he starts going through his pockets, and we see him very quickly begin to fasten some stuff and do some things, and he's taken kind of 2 plates of metal and made shovel hands. And he will,
Stop this.
yeah, and he's gonna start dog digging to try to make it faster, so that he can basically have a proficient tool to add the proficiency to this to make it 12.
Okay. All right. So you start to make more progress.
Yeah,
And you're actually
he bobble hands.
Yeah, I like it. Bobble hands. I like it. All right. Back into the Undertaker's office. The rest of you are at the house. I'm assuming at this point you're just watching the house to make sure that everything goes well. If anything goes awry, I will let you know, but otherwise we will resolve these 2 scenarios for the evening. Back inside, this gnoll type creature kind of looks up and starts to move its head, but you hear as it's kind of the rigor mortis has obviously set in, and it looks
Rigor mortis.
around. Rigor mortis, that's his name. And Deca says, "You may ask your questions."
There's only a moment as he stares at Clint, and a small part of understanding, even though he didn't ask them back, neither then did Sully, and I was gonna hope that this is worthwhile, and that Clint gets some piece out of this. So he looks, kind of nods. Hey there. Got a couple of questions to ask you, if you don't mind. Who killed you today?
Someone on the road.
Vaguer than he wanted, but is it someone? Are any of these sacrificable? But that begs another question. Who put the bullet holes in your chest prior to us meeting you? And he points to the bullet holes that are in his 3.
With long brown hair. Wearing vest.
in his rigor mortis, the speech is kind of drawn out, but he just wants to make sure every bit's getting out. Mm-hmm. And as he realizes it, I'm afraid of it, yeah. Were you aware that you, when you met us, weren't fully alive?
I've never met you.
Was he possessed?
He looks at Decus, very confused. Oh, crap. That makes this one null and void. Never mind. Is your name Clint?
No.
What?
Then who are
Oh
you?
God, thank you.
I am Gnarl.
Barkley?
That was 5, right?
That was 5.
That was not.
Well, he's a null, so it would be null's body.
So they body doubled him.
Or something.
Just
I'm so sorry.
Excited.
As the body begins to go back, he kind of nods his head, but he looks at Decus. This was a setup. A trap. Something, but that's not Clint.
Back to the hole. You're now about 6 feet down.
Okay.
The ground has started to change slightly. You're closer to the water, so it's started to turn a
Shiv
little
gets-
moist and
Sure.
wet. There's a pretty heavy, thick crust, and so you're getting a bit further. Give me an athletics check.
Okay.
Adding your
Let's hope
proficiency.
for better. An 8 again. This
Okay.
dice is dead for the day,
Okay.
so that makes another 12.
Another 12. Okay, so you're making the same kind of progress.
Same number.
Same
Yeah.
pace.
Okay. Back to the room.
Does it, now that this individual has said this, but he was wearing Clint's clothes, I'll look at the damn shoe. And I'm taking one of his shoes.
Okay.
And I say, this ain't gonna make no sense. But I know somebody who can talk to inanimate objects, and it was confusing to me. But just go with it. And I'm gonna take this shoe off. If this was intentional, why? Throw us off the trail, get us confused, get us looking the wrong place, get us looking too much into this and not looking somewhere else. I'm going to. How does Decus look? Is she just as confused as I am? Does she seem pressed? Does she seem concerned?
Indifferent.
Okay. I can take that. I can take that.
I hope you got the answers you were looking for.
No, I didn't. But also, yes, I did.
I will be going now.
Yes. That's fine. I'm gonna also.
Decus walks out the front door and takes off into the air.
Ooh, I just look. Yeah, I look at her, and as I stand in the front, I know that I was told by Crick that where the sheriff's house is, and I start to point a finger around, and it is literally 120 feet away. But I'm not gonna know immediately, so I'm gonna start just pointing, trying to cast a message, trying to find Smith.
Okay.
And if I do find, I go, we have a problem. We have a big problem.
Okay. You hear a message in your head that says we have a big problem. No, you have to see them.
Nope.
Just has to be directional.
Yep.
Nexus, Archie, and I hidden in-house and safe. Do you need us there?
Sorry, I guess I have brain fart. I'll come to you, and I'm gonna start heading towards that direction.
Okay.
But I'm a sigh, and there's no way in heck I can even manage my way into it. I don't know where Wedler is.
No.
I just know that they left.
Sure.
So I'm gonna trust that they're gonna do what they need to do.
Yeah.
But I'm going to book it. I'm gonna double dash book it towards
Okay. All right.
where I believe they are.
Okay. Wedler, you make it another
Athletics.
6 or yep.
Okay.
So how far did you want to go down?
I mean, I'm gonna guess they're 8 foot deep, right? I don't know. It's the. Well, it might only be 6 foot deep, but yeah, I want to make sure that I'm going on like completely under. I don't want to hit the side
Of it.
of a coffin, so I need
Okay.
to go down far enough, and then I don't know. That's what 10, 20-ish feet over.
Right. So you want to go down how many feet?
8 to 10, and then 8, 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're digging down, and all of a sudden you hit a void,
Oh. Do I guess I can fall through.
and it starts to give out. I'd like you to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Okay.
Be careful.
Well, that's okay. I got a ranger for the win. That would be a 6, so that is a 21.
Okay. With a 21, you burst through the bottom,
Okay.
and you manage to kind of tuck and roll.
Yeah.
As you hit ground, about 10 feet down
Oh, okay.
into a dark chamber. And as you kind of roll, things start to kind of settle. You hear like the tick, 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 tick of the rocks around you.
How big is this space?
As you start to look around, you are in a rough-hewn cavern that is approximately 20 by 20 feet or so.
And it continues, I'm guessing.
Nope,
Oh, it's just under.
closed chamber.
Oh.
And as you look around, you see this has been lived in in some format, but probably not for a very, very long time. You get this sense and this release of air that you hear through the roof. There is kind of a layer of dust and just a musty heaviness in this space.
Can I see the bottom of the coffins above? Do they look affected, messed with, burst open? Like, can
You
I
see
see any
no
of that?
coffins.
No
You see
coffins.
nothing. Basically, it is a cavern that goes up, hewn out of a chamber, and then goes to a point,
To a point.
and then just the hole that you came through.
Interesting.
No way out. But what you do see
Uh-huh.
is you see 4 what look like metal tubes, probably about 4 by 4 feet wide,
Okay.
circular, and they go up about 6, 7 feet.
Oh, okay.
And the bottom is like a metallic base, and the actual tube itself looks like it's holding some sort of liquid,
Some sort of.
but very, very dark. And there's
Right.
4 of them. There's 2 on one side, 2 on another. You also see desks, 2 of them, 1 on each end. And it looks like there's like scrolls and paper and random baubles and tools. And you start to look around. I'd like you to give me a history check, please.
Oh, no. I don't think I get anything. Oh, no, I get 1 added to it. Okay, so that would be a 15.
With a 15, you can tell that the architecture in here is vaguely dwarven.
Interesting. Does it happen to match the digging style of, say, the mine? Because I did an investigation there just earlier today.
Yes,
Interesting.
it does.
So the mine was probably dug out by dwarves at one point, though there are no dwarves in this town that we've seen.
You've seen them walking
Okay,
a couple
we have,
here,
okay.
here and there as locals, but none that you have met.
Have met. Okay.
But not many.
That's telling. All right. First off, shiny baubles. I have dark vision, so it should be relatively easy to see down here. I would like to go over to the desk and sift. Are we looking at cartography? Are we looking at like structural things? Or are these? Is this
Schematics.
Oh, it is schematics.
Yeah. and you watch as it's like exploded views of these tubular sorts of instruments.
Rolling it up. And so Wheeler's like still I mean, this is like he lives for this. He's a treasure hunter and a prospector. So he takes anything he can roll up all of these schematics and slops them in like his backpack or under his kind of shoulder belt. What kind of baubles?
What kind of baubles?
I'm also okay to
yes.
just like collect some.
Yeah. So I would say, I mean, there's a number of little tools, little screwdrivers, wrenches, things like that, and fairly old.
Okay.
You don't know how old, but
Sure.
but not present day.
Present day, yeah.
You also notice some the crystals,
Oh,
3 to be exact, 2 blue and a red.
okay. Those we don't want. Those
Yeah.
are shiny. Yeah, I'll pocket the crystals as well. Now, this liquid you said is dark. Is that just because there's little light in here, or is that because it is actually the liquid itself's coloring is dark?
It's just dark because there's no light.
Gotcha.
So, but the liquid looks, from what you can see, looks milky. So it's not completely translucent. It's kind of a thick, viscous liquid.
It's 7 foot tall and it stops. You said
7 foot.
the like top of it doesn't go out anywhere. It's,
No.
Okay.
Stops.
Man, y'all, I want to. Does it have a lid?
You look up and it looks like there's some sort of metallic enclosure to the top of it.
All right. I will use my last first level spell for the day to cast Goat Hooves Charm, which allows me to have the sure-footedness of a mountain goat when climbing slopes, inclines, and normally, things that would reduce your speed by half. So I'm hoping maybe I can do a bit of a up the wall around the to kind of climb to get up to see this lid.
Okay. All right. As you look up, so you're trying to climb, and it's a fairly sheer thing, but you manage to kind of climb up.
Okay.
And it absolutely looks like a lid.
Okay.
But it looks like it's been ratcheted
Down.
and secured.
All right. All right, here we go. How much space is there from the top to the top of this lid?
It's a diagonal sort of
Right.
concave chamber, but
okay.
3-4 feet.
3 or 4 feet? Okay.
to the stone.
Wheedler cast anchoring rope and puts it at the top. And dangle. And he kind of lets go with his hoof charm and kind of pushes off and swings this mage so maybe he can kind of catch the edge. He would like to try, if at all possible, to open this lid. I want to know what's in. Wheeler's got to know what it is. I know.
Okay.
I know.
All right. So you start to
Yeah,
ratchet
I kind of
the-
just
Yeah.
a few. Even if I guess I can't pry it up if it's sealed all the way around. But yeah, Wheeler wants to.
Yeah. So there's 10 nuts or bolts, I should say.
Okay.
That have it
10
shut.
This is an even number. Yeah. So he'll try. If it looks like some of the tools that were in here, one of them is actually used to seal this, Wheeler would obviously use that.
Okay. All right. There is a wrench that looks like it fits the bolt.
Yeah, so I would use whatever C-wrench
Yeah.
or whatever tool is available to
Sure.
try to get it undone.
Sure. Okay. Back to the house. You all meet. What do you do?
As I get to where I believe the sheriff's house to be.
As we see you, the door opens and there's a
The door from another.
a door from another house adjacent to it, and there's a psst. And a hand comes out and just does that.
Ooh.
Shake right. No, just shakes his head. Okay. Yeah, I'll look around before I duck in there. This is a stakeout.
Yeah.
Okay. Information. Very, very not good information. Mage Hand has boot that floats over to Nexus.
Nexus will take it.
That's Clint's boot. You know how to do your thing with speaking to objects. We might need to do that very shortly because that wasn't Clint.
Sorry, who wasn't Clint?
The dead.
No, it was definitely Clint.
Hi. No, it wasn't Clint. I just
Define not Clint.
easy answer to that. The priest and I had
Yeah.
a long discussion, and we met at the Undertaker, and they used their divine power. They have the ability to speak of things that have already passed.
Okay.
I asked them questions about how they died. If they knew they were dead.
Yep.
I said, did they know that they were dead before they met us? And they said they never met me.
All right.
And I said, is your name Clint?
Yeah.
Hard no. Their name is Gnarls.
Other hypothesis, rather than that being a doppelganger, or facsimile, or just a twin, or whatever, that person what was dead, and then another consciousness has been piloting them around under the name of Clint. So the person that we interacted with was whoever is doing all this wobbly wobblies. But it's the same physical, corporeal form that we were.
I don't know. That's out of my wheelhouse.
I know. So basically, he was a meat puppet.
Well, we don't know that for sure. That's a good theory.
I mean,
But,
yeah.
but what matters is the body wasn't this Clint.
no, it
No,
wasn't.
the body was Gnarls. We spoke to the body, not the spirit.
Yeah, no, what I mean is that somebody put on a Gnarls suit and puppeted it around and pretended to be somebody called Clint. So Clint, the person, bounty hunter, never really existed. It was an act.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
But this person, Clint Gnarls, whoever, didn't know who we were.
Yeah, because he was dead.
You're confusing me.
Right. Archie's wearing a coat.
Yeah,
I steal Archie's coat.
yeah.
I put Archie's coat on
Yes.
and pretend to be a pair folk called Philip. I interact with you. You only know Philip. You don't know that the coat originally belonged to Archie.
You're saying that whoever potentially piloted was the one who knew us.
Was the one who interacted with us and potentially is the wrong one.
I get that part.
I mean, it's just an idea.
But listen, bro. From my understanding, we weren't speaking to the spirit. We were speaking to the body.
I mean, that's a bit metaphysical for me.
Back to
That was
you
a
get
lot.
all of the bolts
Bolts off.
off.
Can I crack
Yeah,
it
and so
a
you
little?
hear like a suction sound as you open it, and there's a release of smell, which is something
it
you've never smelled
tangy?
before. It's not tangy. It's not tangy.
Dang it.
Right.
No. But it smells a little like. That's a great question. Mechanical.
It smells mechanical.
Put
Mechanical, like grease.
Like lubricant.
Like okay, like lubricant. Dwarves don't need an excess amount of it.
The automotive kind, not the personal kind.
Okay.
Listen,
Jeez.
you try hard enough and believe
All right.
in yourself. It's as possible.
Okay.
I hate it here.
So, yeah, me too. No, you're good. We are, in fact, fearless tinkerers as dust goblins. While dust goblins are not the same level as, say, gnomes or dwarves when it comes to craftsmanship, they have an uncanny knack to be able to activate and utilize technological devices that others might find perplexing or distasteful.
Sure.
This lubricant in vats.
Yes.
What would, say, this amount of lubricant be used for?
As you start to kind of like look at it, investigate it, the liquid comes to about maybe 3 inches from the top.
Okay.
You also get the sense that it smells like lubricant,
Okay.
but you imagine it's for I just totally forgot the word. It's for keeping things fresh. It's for
It's kind of like formaldehyde, but for...
kind of, yes.
A preserve.
Yeah, it's
to
preservative.
preserve.
It's
to
Jello.
preserve what?
It's
Okay. Well, knowing that, I have bad ideas. I just need y'all to know that.
All of them are great.
We got
Okay, so we're gonna make this quick. Immediately, he reaches in his pocket. He pulls out his canteen, empties it if there's anything left, and is going to try to funnel in some of this so that we have.
It's really goopy and like long and like.
I grab my ladle.
Thick.
Like this, like rusty ladle, and I.
Yeah, it's
I'm a prospect.
Okay,
Of course, I have
got
a
it.
ladle. You know, and I
Yeah.
can kind of like pour it in this
I'm a
goop.
prospector.
Yeah.
Of course, I have a ladle.
Yes, the
I
traditional ladle
have like unusual.
The first two I think of as prospector is ladle.
Yeah.
Clearly.
ladle, pickaxe.
As you
So,
you place your ladle in something, it hits something solid.
Oh god, run away!
Yeah.
Wheedler, get out of there.
Wheedler has to know the truth.
You're gonna die in a hole.
Boy.
I'm not gonna die in a hole. I'm gonna get out of here. Wheedler has to know the truth because this may be important. So I try to avoid the solid object and pour it in. And then Wheedler has another really bad idea.
Wheedler.
Wheedler makes a siphon. Would like to attempt to make a siphon. And much like he would siphon gas from
Sure.
a car tank, he dumps it over the side and allows the ooze to begin
Dexterity
empty.
save.
Great.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Please don't fail.
I did with the net. Yeah. You said it.
Get your dirty earplugs off the table.
They're not. They actually haven't been in my ears.
Oh, they're not
they're,
yours,
for,
okay.
they're for me to play with. 'Cause
That's okay.
They're squishy. They've not been in my ears. I swear. They're just squishy for my nerves.
Don also has.
This is the worst timeline.
You start to siphon it,
Yeah.
misjudge the distance down the tube, and you get a mouthful of this lubricant, which is super gross. And you cough and start to spat, and like it starts to spew,
Yeah.
which also causes you Constitution saving throw.
Great. Can do. Okay. I feel like. Let me just check because I have some. Nope. Things because we're. Let me make sure I don't have any. It's awareness, the region, blah blah, scavenger, blah blah, tinkerer, blah blah. Dust Goblin, Dark Vision, Strange, Deadly Surroundings. I have proficiency in Dexterity and Wisdom skills. Great. Twisted. Nope. Okay. I'll make sure I didn't have any. So I got a 9.
Okay, so you start to heave into this vat, and the force of heaving and the natural one, you fall in.
No!
I'm literally tied to a rope.
Oh, you don't fall in.
Yeah. I can swing like a pinata if
Sure,
you'd like.
sure. So, yeah. So you let go of the side, and you kind of swing down a bit, and you swing, and your face hits the glass thing, and you come face to face with the face that is pressed up against the glass, appearingly human, and you can see that there's hair kind of matted against
Is
the
it
glass.
long?
You can't really tell
Tell.
because it's mixed with the fluid. Back to the house.
All right, whatever the case may be, whether it's Clint Gnarls, they didn't know us, and that's still a problem. Something's up, obviously. But I'm scared that it's a lot deeper than we think it is.
Oh, I mean, yeah. It's all getting worse and worse.
Deep into the
I'm fairly sure. I mean, quite frankly, I'd be prepared to sack off the trial tomorrow and just renounce any sort of responsibility and get out of here because this is going to go bad fast.
I just don't know what else we can do tonight.
Nexus will pipe up and say, Philip, would you like me to to look at the boot?
Right, and Mr. Smith takes off the imaginary coat that he puts on.
It took me too long.
My apologies, Mr. Smith. I
Yeah.
had you confused.
This is all right. Potentially, right. 2 questions. I know where Shiv is. He's up a tower. Where's Wheedler?
How many times have we actually been able to hold Wheedler down?
I thought Wheedler was coming to.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Switch to back to the cavern.
No, we just got here.
Is it
Just got back.
actually
We're moving
siphoning out?
quickly.
Is it actually siphoning out? Even though I failed, is it siphoning?
It is. It's
Okay.
starting to
Great,
siphon.
because I'm squeezed to get this thing. I
Yeah.
immediately reach for the eyeball in
Yeah.
my pocket,
Yeah.
hold it, turn invisible, and begin trying to kind of shimmy my way up the rope to get
Sure.
closer to the hole.
Sure. As you start to shimmy yourself, it starts to funnel
Done.
quite quickly.
Yeah.
to the point where you start to see kind of half the head starting to come out, but you also see lantern light starting to shine into the inside of the opening.
Jesus.
And you hear muttered voices talking over the hole where you are.
Okay, dope. Well,
As it starts to funnel and as it starts to empty out, you see markings on its face that look familiar.
oh,
Perhaps like someone in your party. Back to the house.
I'm sorry, Kaibahanda.
You, boot, shoot.
So Nexus will like nod and kind of like crisscross applesauce on the floor. But before she does, she's gonna. You're there too, right? Or she's
Yep.
there? Or she's gonna say, "A tangy check, please." Archie.
Yep, I give it just a big old
Perception
slurp.
check.
Okay.
A tangy check, please.
Tang check.
That'd be a nat 1.
Oof.
Oh, what is
wow, today.
Yeah, with that, it smells like death.
Stanky.
But you're starting to like that smell. It's starting to like, you know what? It's not so bad anymore. The shoe looks tasty.
Oh, no, no.
For death.
A perception check isn't a willpower. Okay, I did. Dang it.
Okay.
More importantly, just trying to figure out where it's walked.
Okay. So Nexus will crisscross applesauce, and the boot will sort of start to gently glow. She'll hold it up, and she'll say, "Hello, boot. I am Nexus." I don't know what boots sound like, DM. It's your job.
Yes.
I am sorry to disturb you, but I have a few questions of utmost importance, and I was wondering if I could beg your assistance.
That's fine, but I got places to be.
Yes, we are wondering, actually, where... You
broke Omega.
broke Omega? Yes.
That's good.
Yes. Well, you are made for walking.
That's just what I'll do.
We are wondering, rather than where you are going, where have you come from? Can you tell us anything about... just the location or locale that you originated from.
Yes, well, I was told, or from what I remember, originally I came from a cow in a pasture out east, actually. Very famous person who used to make shoes made me. And then I sat on a store shelf for like 3 weeks, and we're going to go back to the
the life story of Shoe?
and it's continuing to, and the markings are kind of these geometrical sort of patterns like you have seen on Nexus's face.
Why do you look cheeky as hell? Like you knew this was gonna happen.
I didn't know this was happening, but I had suspicions because of things that are in the book.
Interesting. That's terrifying. Okay.
Terrifying. That's cool. That's fine.
You know
Whatever.
what? Wheeler's a chaos monster, so Wheeler kind of panics as it's siphoning out, and he's trying to piece together why there's two of them. And oh man, and holding the eyeball is going to try to shimmy up the rope, and use these kind of his goat hooves to maybe like run around the edge of it to make a hop and leap and try to get out of the hole before being seen.
Okay,
He needs to get out.
acrobatics check.
Okay, that I can do.
And you're invisible, so that
I
will help.
am. I rolled a 15.
Okay, and stealth check with advantage.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good thing it's advantage. It's not. That's okay. Stealth is still a 8 and 4 makes 12.
Okay, all right. So you kind of manage to swing up, and you kind of like onto the little cavern, and you start to kind of climb up.
Yeah.
You get to the top, and you can see that there are a couple people from Tent Town kind of looking around, and you manage to kind of like squeeze out and crawl out and off to the side.
And off to the side.
Back to the house. Well, then a man bought me and my brother, who I haven't seen in a little while, actually maybe only like half an hour. And then I miss him a lot because we spend most of our time together.
Understandable.
But then I was going on my way home, and then I went on a trip, and then the person that was wearing me died, and then my shoes were taken, and then they ended up on something that smelled not so fun, and then was covered in dust and blood and dirt, and then here I am.
The terrain that you walked on, was it always like what you experienced here in town?
The terrain. Say that again.
The terrain that you walked on.
Yes.
You have been here in town with your brother for
Yes.
several days.
Yes.
But before that, what was the terrain like?
Dry, windy, dirty, dusty,
And when
hard.
you said that you were put on by something that smelled dead?
No,
No,
just gross.
just gross.
Yep.
Okay.
Left me stinky.
Stinky. Nexus is gonna kind of look up at these two and say, "I am not sure what questions to ask the boot."
Are you? I presume you're doing like a running commentary kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah. I'm telling like, and I'm just like relaying this like boot life story.
Okay. It sounds like the person who these boots belong to got murdered, then was robbed of all their belongings, and then all their belongings were stuck on the body that we've been interacting with.
Yeah, did owners always have pointed toenails?
Has it? Did they ever get removed within the last 24 hours?
Nexus will relay that question.
Sorry, the question?
Were you removed from your previous owner within the past couple of days?
Yes.
Okay.
In the last hour?
Relayed.
I've had 2 owners in the last 2 days.
She's been 2 different feet. Yeah.
Two
Two
feet.
different feet, yeah.
Is Boot able to get an idea of who or what their owners look like? And obviously
Yeah.
they only saw them from fairly low to the
Yeah.
ground. Because their original owner might not have been a knoll.
Yeah. So,
Pointed toenails.
yeah. Yeah,
kind of
I'll
feet?
relay those questions.
Yeah.
So, do you know like the name of your owner, what your owner looked like, and did they have pointy toenails?
I can't really see much, but I feel stuff. And yeah, all my last 2 owners had pointy toenails.
Both nose.
Yeah.
So they were similar but different.
Yeah.
That means 2 different no's.
Yep.
That's what we need to know.
Yep.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
That makes
Means that body wasn't probably the original Clint. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Nexus will we'll just kind of like look the boot and say, I thank you very much for your time and attention in this matter, and we will take care to reunite with you with your brother shortly.
Thank you.
One last question.
Yes.
If one hypothetically were to fill you with dirt that was not hollowed,
Back to Wedler.
Wheatler hopefully pops out of this hole.
Yeah, you did, and you crawled
And
away.
I see people.
Yeah.
Really don't want them to know this hole is here. So I make myself
Too late. They know the hole is there.
Okay.
They're looking down it with lanterns.
great. I uninvisible myself.
Oh, no.
And I go, get away from my hole!
I'm not even gonna roll for that, frankly. They and they kind of turn and they run.
And I try to like run him off, and then
Yeah.
Peter's like, knowing that more people are gonna come,
Yeah.
tries to use maybe some of the strips of fabric he pulled from the ruins
Yeah.
of the fabric store
Yeah.
to make a small tent
Yeah.
to match Tent City to cover the hole for now.
Right.
Nice.
Okay.
Or a barrel, a box,
Sure.
anything he
Yeah.
can get over it
Sure.
to cover it.
Sure. All right. You use a survival check real quick for that?
Yeah, totally. That's not bad for me. I say that. I'm not using that dice. That would be a 22.
Okay. You think you've done a pretty Good job of hiding the hole.
I even like stick a sign and write latrine on it, so goblin latrine, so
Yeah.
nobody else will use it.
Yeah, I like it.
And then Sully told me if I was in trouble or things were bad
Yeah.
to blow the whistle, and so I immediately start running. Toot! Toot!
So cute.
I was gonna look up immediately, ears just perk.
Yeah.
Wedler's in danger. Wheeler's in danger.
Okay.
Then hopefully try to. Let's
Yeah,
go.
I know
You see
where
them
they're
exit.
at. So,
You see her running over. You hear the whistle.
Before that,
Yeah.
if I may, like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
if we can rewind a little bit, when they let that orc go,
Yeah.
will I be able to see him and follow him? Then,
Yeah.
and
He
not be
walks back and then into the bank.
Just straight into
Yeah.
the bank. Okay.
yeah. And when they're just toot toots and toot toots and I run down the street, and when I see you, I'm like, stop.
What?
People are starting to look out of their buildings and their houses.
No,
and-
nothing to see here, folks. Just they tripped. They can let me look at their foot.
Ah! And then I stop, and when I see, I point, just fasten the goo. This is covering the. Ooh.
Move.
Yeah, maybe we can go in. Wedler pushes us inside. This seems important. Wedler slaps down a very gooey canteen filled with this liquid. And goes, "Oh my god, I saw some things. I've seen some things.
What did you see?
Okay, I dug down under the cemetery. I wanted to know what was down there. It's not tunnels. It was a cavern left behind by what I'm assuming are dwarves. And inside of it were two huge tubes. And in those tubes were a bunch of goo. And in those goo, you."
I am here.
No, there was another one I saw with my own goblin eyes. I even had my goggles on. I'm telling you, you were in a vat full of this goo under the cemetery. Oh, and I got these. And I pull out the schematics and like just toss them across whatever table or floor we're sharing. I did it. It was
What are the?
Can anybody read Dwarven?
I'm almost done. I cannot.
No.
Where would that be?
it would be in your languages.
I cannot.
I cannot
I
either.
can read Gnomish,
Where is the language?
but not
What if
Dwarven.
it's schematics? Could we get a like? Would
Yeah,
it be like
'cause-
looking at like a patent where even if you didn't know necessarily like,
Yeah.
the words,
So you can
and
see
then
there's an
figure out the-
exploded view of
Yeah.
the tube.
Do
Yeah, I don't speak dwarf.
Where?
And in the exploded view, the center of the exploded sort of view with all the pieces is like a body in a fetal position.
Somebody is growing more of you under the cemetery. Actually, everything was old, right? I said that. It looked like it hadn't been touched. Okay, but maybe they were growing more of you under the cemetery. It seems a bit abandoned.
Nexus looks very thoughtful. Shit. Can I do a? I'm debating, because backstory versus practicality. Nexus is gonna cock her head, and Nexus wouldn't know. So Nexus is gonna look up and say, "My father told me that I was the only one."
If by one you mean two, yes.
I don't know his motivations, but your father might not be aware. So he wasn't necessarily lying. But
I'd point to. Let me just make sure. I'm pretty sure.
That being said, I can tell you affirmatively, thanks to my pickaxe, that there are undead in the area. Undead in the area.
which is just undead.
From what I can tell,
Oh, well that's good.
I thought that might narrow down our search.
Yeah.
All right, folks. It's been a long day.
Yep.
Let's head back to the town hall. That's at least a safe place we can be.
Yeah.
And
Let's.
just-
I'll give. In fact, I'll just open the door and just wave up to the bell tower and be like, I don't know if you can see me. I'm just waving.
For your
Yep.
scope.
Alright, I come down and
Meet you at the town hall.
Let's
what the
just.
hell is going on?
We all meet up at the town hall. Is that the plan?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll meet you there versus
Oh,
your
oh,
house.
I thought we were all-
You're
okay, yeah,
next door to it. So.
Yeah.
quick point of order. I don't think I ever got languages.
I mean, then that's up to you.
Looks like you speak Dwarven.
Yeah, it's up to you.
I don't want to show.
I mean, it doesn't make sense for you to speak Dwarven.
No, it doesn't.
Not-
It doesn't make.
Yeah, so then you shouldn't put it in this
Exactly.
situation,
That's what I was thinking. But
While everybody is sort of like catching Shiv up and resting, Nexus will start studying these plans.
Okay.
Not speaking Dwarven, but like mechanically minded,
Sure.
knowing things about building stuff,
Sure.
to sort of like get a picture of like what's going on to report back after this rest.
Okay.
I would like to sit with Nexus because whilst the complexity of mechanization is beyond me, I've seen enough medical textbooks to understand that kind of
Sure.
thing.
Investigation check, and you can add your modifier.
4.
That is a
Oh.
that is
Nice.
a 24.
Okay. All right.
So 28.
All right.
28 total.
28.
Okay. So you all settle in. You're doing this. Morning comes. Long rest. Everyone.
Oh,
Yes, at the top where it has your like AC and initiative, there's a rest button.
Oh,
You can
I
just
love
hit it, hit long rest. It'll reset everything.
That's so nice.
Cool.
cool.
Awesome. Okay. Over the night, and you rested and came back, and through your studies, it is what appears to be an incubation chamber.
So
as this is happening, I said. So you're saying that there's another Nexus,
No,
potentially, or something that looks like
I will-
another Nexus.
I believe that I do not know what this creature looks like, but what I am able to ascertain from these plans is that creatures like me, automatons, and she'll like gesture to her arms as though you haven't figured it out yet. We are built, we are constructed, and it would appear that these tubes or pods are where we are grown. And then I'm going, Wheeler, at some point, did you show me the stuff in the canteen?
Oh, I put it out on
Yeah.
the table for
Okay,
everybody.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and Nexus will say, like, according to these plans, this liquid is necessary to the process as it is what allows our bodies to grow and mature. And then she'll, like, kind of, like, keep looking through the plans, and she'll say, I cannot I cannot specifically tell when, and she'll shake the liquid and point to the plans, when these were built. But these pods can remain in stasis for as long as necessary, which means potentially that there could be only these or several, and she kind of like thinks about it for a minute, millions others
Huh?
just like me.
Well, there were 2 tubes.
4.
4 tubes.
Now, when you say it looked like Nexus, do you mean that it was an other automaton, or
It
do you mean it was
Literally looked like
Nexus's
Nexus,
face?
right?
No, it
No.
was the features
The
slightly
features,
different.
okay, yeah.
cooler.
That's why I planned a similar, you know.
Yeah, okay. So,
uh,
another automaton. All right. Okay.
Question.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever, at least I don't recall. Who is your father, Nexus? You keep talking about him.
He is just a tinkerer. He is just a man who will. Being an automaton is difficult to explain because when we are born, we wander. I do not remember the first several days of my life or my birth. When my father found me, I was in the wastes, and we believe that some reavers or some other creature found me. I was not very well, and my father did what he could to repair me as best as he could, which is why my arms look like this. And so when my father found me, he took me in and he raised me as his own. But he is just a man.
Do you know what I'm thinking? Some creature, some seismic activity destabilized one of these
Pops.
incubation chambers. You awoke, came out into the waste, got jumped by some gribbling, got injured, and then your father found you.
So you did not come from this specific location.
That you know of.
I
That
do
you know
not
of, at
remember.
least.
I mean, it could be it. Could be.
Look, regardless, it was the dwarves that did it. They also were the ones with the mines. There's a probability that there are tons of these chambers under this town, but I don't actually know that they have anything to do with Yates.
Nexus will kind of like look at her arms a little bit and say, one of the difficult parts about being an automaton is that I know that ultimately I have a use. And it is possible that the dwarves who built the mine perhaps used automatons like me to assist them in digging and building. Because constructing automaton to assist with mining would be more practical than hiring creatures who can die.
That makes sense.
When Wheeler was down there, I don't know if you got. Did it seem like you said it hadn't been lived in? Had it been used recently?
No, you said there was dust all over everything.
Dust. Okay.
It hasn't. I cracked it open for the first time in a long time.
Gotcha.
I can tell you that much.
I was almost,
Much like the mine.
almost worried they were using the idea of the schematics to raise these undead, but
Well, that was my thought too. There's no probability. Is that flammable?
I point to the lubricant liquid.
Nexus, she kind of like winks at Wheeler and says, I do not know, but I bet you can find out.
Okay, I keep it for later.
Before you put it away, could we perhaps have Archie sniff it to see if it smells like anything we've had so far?
I mean, I was told it doesn't smell like anything. It smells
okay,
like
okay.
I was told that in
Well,
there.
okay, I just
Wheeler
didn't-
did the same thing.
I didn't know if it was similar to the.
Does it smell like tangy?
Personal lubricant, maybe.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
As odd as this is, it appears to be unrelated to everything else that's going on.
I mean, it might be, but we don't have a thread.
Purely because of the fact that chamber hadn't been in.
Opened in a while. Oh, I put a latrine sign and a tent over it so nobody should bother it.
all right.
Is this conversation happening in the morning?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm on
What
the
time is it in the morning?
At which point, Crick comes over and says, I suggest that maybe we start to prepare the town hall for the coming trial.
Exactly, yeah.
Perhaps we should do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes. If you all wouldn't mind, and he looks at the ransacked town hall still.
Oh, yeah.
And
I mean, Crick's been doing his best, but it's just him. So, all right, sleeves up.
Okay.
you don't have to literally put your sleeves up. It's just.
I don't even have any sleeves. I just start picking up papers. I did most of this. So I start like stacking papers. I guess the way a goblin would stack papers, which is not very good, but I do it.
As this is going on, all Shiv can think of is, I did all this for 4.5%.
Your fault.
All right. So if we can fast forward the time for the sake of brevity, in a sentence or two, you can let me know if there's anything else you want to do in the morning before it comes. The trial comes.
The only thing that she wanted to ask is who was the orc that entered the and then why was he let go?
Yeah. And I will explain the fact that we met Biff, that I thought he'd been sent to assassinate, and yet there seemed to be some sort of semblance of care taken of the sheriff, so that doesn't make sense. But I had taken the key off him so he couldn't get back into the property.
Did you talk to the body?
We will, and I will then also send a runner to the temple because we will need the priest to go and check on the sheriff because he's currently locked in his own house.
Nexus is gonna start acting weird.
Oh.
Like she's fine. She's cleaning, she's helping, whatever, but she's gonna start acting real weird.
Okay.
Don't like that.
With the how?
Weird, like clearly upset about something, but doesn't want to talk about it.
Okay.
You know, it sounds like I'm fine. It's like that.
Yes, checked on the body. Long story short, it wasn't Clint. It was a Noel named Noel Arles.
Gnarls.
Yeah. It makes sense because Barkley.
I knew no one's named Barkley. He wasn't very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So Wedler does nothing to prepare for town hall because I have no concept of this process.
Yeah.
I pretty much kind of start. I hate to use this term. I start supervising. Action. This goes there. I'm like using my mage hand to do stuff, but I can't lift up a lot. Like you all will see me try to get down and lift up a table and literally struggle and as I just struggle gets too hard, I almost have to go through it, and I immediately stop. So I just
There.
thank you. And I'll just say, quick, if there's anything of import that came while I was gone, that'd be great to know. And if you've heard anything about Yates, as within the last couple of hours.
Okay. Archie, anything?
In addition to just doing what I can to help out, I'm gonna give the rabbit one more sniff of that little flower, and I'm gonna take one last sniff. Kind of frown at it and just gonna crush it and throw it away.
All right.
That's it.
Okay. Noon rolls around. And people start to kind of flood into the town hall. You've managed to clean it up to some sort of semblance of order. And it appears like at least 3/4 of the town have shown up for this. They start to fill the balcony and standing room even by the door and in around the edges. And around, 1/4 afternoon, the Mr. Yates strolls in, 4 orcs at his sides, and he kind of steps up onto the dais and he kind of looks at everybody and he nods, and then he goes and he sits. And Crick has kind of told you or how it all should be set up. But basically, there's a dais up top. It has that one chair in the middle that has kind of the eyelets. That's for witnesses or prisoners. And then there are chairs on either side facing each other for the 2 opposing sides. And then the judge sits in a chair across from the witness with a little table with some notes and a gavel and that sort of thing.
Who's the judge?
Yeah, they haven't appeared yet.
Okay.
At which time...
I was making sure it wasn't Yates.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And Crick says, all rise! And asks everybody to rise. Everybody rises. And this female-looking character, human, older, kind of a bit of a hunch in her back, kind of walks in. She's got a robe with adornments on it, and kind of walks in and looks at everybody and looks across. Well, quite the crowd today. And she kind of like steps up onto the dais and takes her place. She says, please all be seated.
Sorry. I was just going to ask, as she walks in, does there look like any indication like she's looking at Yates or any kind of like...
Insight.
Favoritism. Is
Yeah.
what you're asking
Insight
about.
check.
Yeah. Actually, you know what I'm going to use?
And as you look at, I'm sure that the eyes kind of everywhere. We can like look at the group that I know, just to make sure they're all sitting down and make sure they're all, not doing whatever. I'm gonna look at Archie. And you're gonna see my nose like.
Give him a pretty good old sniff, as inconspicuous as a giant bear nose up in your...
Perception check.
All right.
And for you?
Oh, that was a lovely 5.
Oh, fine. Yeah. Nothing that you can tell.
Oh, 17.
Okay. With the 17, you start to kind of sniff. And you, with the 17, definitely smell that smell on Yates from across the room. But it's slight. Very, very, very slight.
Slightly tangy nose on this one.
But not on the judge.
Not on the judge. The judge says, well, thank you all for coming today. We want to keep this as orderly and as timely as possible, so let us move right along. This is, of course, to discuss our new individual here who has claimed that Sheriff Baralian and Mayor Baralian has put you in charge of the town, and of course that has come under some scrutiny. So today we're here to determine whether or not that is in fact something that is supposed to happen and will continue to happen. Obviously, in opposition of that is Mr. Yates and his representatives. You are representing yourself.
Well, I would also like a fellow just to cooperate and make sure that my facts are as straight as they can be.
You will be able to call witnesses.
Noted.
All right. And Mr. Yates has decided also to represent himself. So, all right. Well, as the defense, would you like to make an opening statement?
And he'll kind of like dust himself off, kind of like breathe in, kind of look at the group, look at Cornelius. That smile naturally comes back to his face. Hello, everyone. My name is Sullivan Furno. Sometimes you are brought into places that, while you don't intend to stay, circumstances dictate that you should. And this is one of those moments. While I am not a former resident of Hell's Bank, I am of the law in another town. So this is not something that is foreign to me. In a time of need, in a time where bandits came through, and he like looks in the crowd, as some of you saw, attempting to intimidate the now deceased former Mayor Jenkins Johnson, and their subsequent attack on the sheriff and Mayor Borrelia. Myself and those I've been traveling with and met here, including a resident, Arcturus, helped. And we did what we needed to do to make sure that the place that we were currently residing in was safe. But in that scuttle, Borrelia was hurt, gravely wounded. Myself, along with a very accomplished medic, did all that we could to keep him safe, even using part of my own life force to do so. In that moment, with the one that he hired, and he who owns the barbershop, Borrelia himself asked me to do the job he could not do as he was injured. He trusted me, saw something. I'm not going to be the judge of how he saw it, but he trusted I could assist in any way I could until he got better. He made it a point to choose me. So I intend to honor that.
It's all right. Thank you. Please have a seat. Mr. Yates. Well, good people of Hell's Bank. As he stands up.
Jerk. Sorry, I just had something caught in my throat, but it was
I was going to say something, and I just totally started to say something. I was going to say, order in the court, come on now. Let him speak. Let him speak. Boy, as I was saying, we're not here today to question whether or not these fine people have helped us in our time of need. They are heroes. There is no question. They sacrificed their lives and their livelihood and their resources to bring this town to a place of safety. Perhaps without them, many more lives would have been lost. As we know, the ever-living bandits are a cruel, horrible organization. We had never been under their boot before, but yesterday was the first day that happened. And these fine, brave, courageous adventurers came to our aid. And so, first of all, I want to start by thanking everyone for doing that and protecting our interests in so many different ways in the lives of the good people of Hillsbank. What we are here today to find out is whether or not our beloved sheriff and mayor was in sound mind at the time when he looked up after having been shot 3 times grievously to appoint anyone in any sort of position of of authority over us when they just arrived
We
here.
all caught it at the same time.
Yeah, we did.
We don't know where they're from. We don't know if Mr. Sully is in fact up to this task or has any experience at all in mayorship. Sure, for him to sit in as sheriff, absolutely. In fact, right now, we can all just go home and I'll just say he's sheriff. But to be mayor of this town, there needs to be a vote. And so I ask all of you here to consider whether or not you think that Mr. Sully over here,
Sullivan.
Mr. Sullivan, even better, is actually capable or has the experience necessary to lead this town as its mayor, having not lived here or not knowing anything about it before yesterday. Sheriff he is, brave he is, courageous he is, saved us he did. And that is all. And he sits down. The judge says, all right, well, Mr. Sullivan, I'd like you to call your first witness.
I call to the stand the medic who can determine if they were safe, if they were of sound mind. There's only those who understand and have a deep a deep knowledge of medicine and medicinal needs
Mr.
can
Smith,
actually ascertain if someone is of sound mind. Because we don't have the ability or right to dictate how someone's mind is. Unless you're able to say so. I call old Cornelius Smith to the stand.
Mr. Smith, whilst Sully's talking, scribbles a note and passes it down the line to Sully. So that's in character.
Okay.
Stand up.
Yeah, and I would say at this point, passing notes back and forth with thoughts and stuff is fine as long as they're not details of the proceedings, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Right? So like thoughts on like things that you catch.
Yeah.
It's important that we kind of play it. If you want to pass a note in game, that's fine.
Of course.
Yes,
But
that was
yeah.
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 Okay, and I will go and I will stand at the witness
Yeah.
box.
Okay. Mr. Sully, you have the floor.
Raise my hand.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, Judge.
Yes.
Do you not need me to take a note before I give evidence?
We don't do that here. It's your word against ours, or theirs, or anyone's, frankly.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Small towns.
I'll just look at Cornelius and nod.
Mr. Smith's dressed as tidily as he can, but the badge on his chest has been shone.
Can you please state your name for the audience, the court, so they understand who you are?
Mr. Cornelius Smith, Smith Smith.
I thought it was S.
Can you tell me your innate knowledge of medicine?
Certainly, I am a travelling medic and physic. I fix what needs fixing within the capabilities what I've got.
So humble.
Which means you have expertise, actual lived expertise.
Yeah, I've been doing this now for, I don't know what, 20 years? Ish.
Point of order, this town has only been here for 8 to 10 years, which means he has more knowledge than the entirety of this town and its existence. How and what happened to Sheriff Borelli in your expert thoughts and words?
Oh, that is very easy to answer. In my expert opinion, he was shot 3 times.
Shot 3 times. Thank
Yep.
you.
Lower abdominal, upper chest, neck.
Not shot in the head, though, correct?
No.
All right.
He has suffered no head injury that I could ascertain.
And were his wounds taken care of?
Yes, myself, with the assistance of Mr. Leroy the barber, Clint the bounty hunter, and yourself, Mayor, we were able to bring the bleeding under control. We were able to remove all of the particulates of slugs and deal with the infection. It was a difficult procedure, but we got it done in the end.
And was it obvious until you did, with your keen understanding and your perception, was it obvious that there were 3 different gunshots, or did you have to figure that out?
I counted.
Thank you. But none of these wounds, do you believe, would have had any harmful effect on the mental capacity of the sheriff?
Only in the sense that if we hadn't treated him, he'd be dead, so he wouldn't be able to think. But other than that, no, his mental capacities, in my opinion, would have been unimpaired.
That's all for me.
Well, all right. Mr. Yates, you can now question the witness. Well, all right. He stands up. All right. Should have named. His first name is Lincoln, just for the reference, because he never. All right. Well, Mr. Smith, first of all, I want to thank you for your service.
I think at this moment in time, it's technically Deputy Smith. But
That's what we're here to find out today.
That's actually not what we're here to find out today. Please question him and not continue.
Judge. The judge says, Mr. Sullivan, please, you have the floor. Well, all right. So, first of all, I want to thank you for your service here. You're right. If you hadn't have helped, he'd be dead.
without question.
Yes.
Mr. Leroy, whilst doing his best, the grievous injuries that the sheriff had sustained were beyond his capabilities to handle on his own.
Yes, of course. And frankly, I mean, although as much as we cherish our dear Bartholomew Leroy and everything that he does, Leroy Bartholomew, sorry, he isn't a surgeon. Like, he does his best here for us in this town, but he's not a doctor. Are you, sir, a doctor?
I do not have a medical degree. However, I do have 20 years of practical experience treating people.
Right. So, you've never actually served as a doctor before, is that right? Like in a infirmary or in any sort of official capacity? This is more of a hobby of such, is that right?
Well, I would say it's more of a career. I don't think you can have a hobby for 20 years and not be at least, what would I say, 10,000 hours to become an expert. I've certainly got that.
Well, fair enough. But I mean, you could do anything for 20 years as a hobby and never become an expert. I mean,
I mean,
Let's be honest. Anyways, that's it. There's no question that you did what you did, and you did it right. But if he was so close to death, that if he hadn't have been helped, and in and out of consciousness, is that right?
he regained consciousness, the patient was in distress, and I sedated him so that I could continue to perform surgery.
Right. So you used mind-altering medicine.
Nope, I'm afraid that chloroform is not considered a mind-altering medicine. It is a sedative.
But it does bring people in and out of consciousness, is that right?
It is not a mind-altering medicine.
Right. But it does bring people in and out of consciousness, is that right?
It does not bring people in and out of consciousness.
What does it do?
It takes people from consciousness to unconsciousness. You cannot bring somebody round from unconsciousness
but-
with chloroform.
Right, but-
So no is the answer to your question.
Fair enough. So, but it did put him in an unconscious state.
Yes,
Right.
so that I could perform surgery.
Yes. And my understanding is that magical means were used during this time by Mr. Sullivan in order to keep him stable and unconscious during most of the procedure. Is that right?
That is incorrect.
Okay. Explain.
Magical means were used such that Sullivan was able to link his life force to share any grievous wounds that would have been sustained to keep him stable. There was no mental connection in any way. It did not affect his consciousness one iota.
Right. So, let me understand. First of all, Mr. Sullivan is a hero for sacrificing himself and his life force in order to do that. There's no question. My question, though, is that is not part of the magical means that he used. Did that not keep our dear sheriff unconscious during the procedure?
You are correct. That did not keep him unconscious during the procedure.
All right, well, we have other people in this space that were there, Mr. Leroy specifically, that states, and we will ask him when he comes up, that in fact, what was being used kept him asleep.
I can state, as a medical practitioner, that the thing that was keeping him asleep was the chloroform and not the magics that was used. And I am answering that to the best of my understanding about the magics. However, I am not an expert.
Right. Oh, so you are not an expert on
In the same way that
means-
Mr. Leroy is also not an expert on magic, to the best of my understanding.
Fair enough. Well, all right. Back to my initial question, and this is the last question I have for you, and that is this. Between the moment of being shot 3 times, once in the neck, once in the shoulder, once in the lung, being unconscious, going through mental duress that is caused by getting close to death,
Yep.
then being operated on, coming to during that operation, having to be chloroformed and magicked and all the other stuff that happened. In your experience,
Yep.
and frankly, we can't say expert opinion, but in your experience, would you say that all of that in no way, shape, or form would affect his state of mind?
My statement is that his mental capacity had not been impaired. Heightened emotional state is not the same as impaired mental capacity.
That is all the questions I have. You may step down now and ask you to come up. She turned, she said, all right, Mr. Yates, your first witness. And Mr. Yates turned, she says, I would like to call Leroy Bartholomew to the stand. And Leroy kind of gets up, kind of looks around, kind of a bit sheepishly, and walks up onto the dais. Takes a deep breath out and sits down. Mr. Yates stands up and he looks at Bartholomew and says,
As this happens,
yeah.
Is Crick in the room?
Yep.
I will sleight of hand it if necessary. I'm going to message him and
Okay.
just say, "It's Leroy. It's Leroy's building owned by Mr. Yates."
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Leroy, how long have you been a member of this here community? Leroy says, well, I've been here, I believe it's about 5 years. Right. Can you please tell everyone here what you saw occur on the afternoon in question? Yes, well, I was doing my business and taking care of things. I was painting on my murals and adding some new people to town, and in came the body of the sheriff, carried by Clint, the dearly departed Clint, of course. And immediately I saw how grievous the wounds were. He was unconscious. And I am no expert, I am no doctor, but I do my best for this town and have served the best of my ability. And I tried my best to start to clean the wounds and stitch them up like I typically would do when this sort of thing would happen. Shortly after I started, or sometime later, Mr. Sullivan and Mr. Smith came in, and Mr. Smith seemed very capable of taking care of the sheriff, much more capable than I did, and with some more experience. And so I just aided him in that time, and he quite masterfully brought the sheriff back to health. And I believe the sheriff would have died if it wasn't for Mr. Smith. All right then, so you're telling me that you believe that Mr. Smith was responsible for bringing him back to life? Well, absolutely, I believe that. Well, all right. Do you believe in any way, shape, or form? Or did you witness any sort of loss of scruples, as it were? Do you believe, possibly, that his mental capacity was hindered in any way?
Objection, leading the witness to answering the question that he can't actually answer because he's not an expert in the field of mental medicine.
All due respect, Mr. Sullivan, I don't have to be an expert to see that he was coming in and out of consciousness. We do that every morning.
Still leading the question.
And yet you're a barber,
No,
not a
that's
surgeon. Thank you.
That's
Continue.
okay. Fair enough. That said, he did come in and out of consciousness multiple times and was quite groggy throughout the whole experience. And was pale and muttering some things before they got in there. So, absolutely, I think anybody who goes through that sort of experience isn't necessarily thinking straight. Possibly desperate, looking down the tunnel to their death, potentially, not knowing if they'll come out of the other side of this thing. So even though, perhaps, he said what he said, I don't think, frankly, and he looks at Mr. Yates and he looks across to all of you, that he was in sound state of mind to be able to make that sort of statement and mean it. Frankly, he was in and out. And I don't even necessarily know he knew who he was looking at. I saw distance in his eyes. And Yates says, well, all right. But you did in fact hear him say that he could be sheriff and mayor, is that correct? Well, no, that's not what was said, actually. What was said was, this town is yours, take care of it. Or something to that effect. He did not specify what role that was. He did not specify you are sheriff now. He did not even specify necessarily, at all, frankly, that you are to be mayor. Just said this town is yours. My understanding and my feeling was that he meant to be protected. Because as we know, Mr. Sullivan is a capable sheriff and lawmaker. So you're saying that you even question what actually was said in that moment, and that there was no specificity regarding the roles in which Mrs. Sullivan were to take. There was no badge given. There was no rights. There were no writs in any way, shape, or form given to Mr. Sullivan to say, hey, you are now the mayor, and you are now the sheriff. Well, that's right. There was nothing like that, because he fell unconscious right after he said it. All right, well, no further questions. Mr. Sullivan, you now have the witness. My voices are very similar. This is
I could tell, though.
a bit of
Yes.
acrobatics.
I could tell. That was great.
As he says all that, the smile never leaves. I can look around before standing back up. Firstly, thank you for doing all that you can for Hell's Bank. I'm sure the people really do care that their hands are in a capable, brave individual who stepped up when no one else potentially could. You said you are not, let me phrase this in a question. Are you a doctor?
No,
Are you a surgeon?
I have performed surgeries, yes.
But are you a surgeon?
One is to say that if somebody gets paid for a service, especially in this town, and you provide that service for a cost, then you are a professional of that area.
Not necessarily true. You can be paid
Well, you
to
can
jump
tell
off
me that
of
you-
a cliff, but you wouldn't be necessarily called a cliff jumper. You'd just be called someone who jumped off a cliff.
I don't know about all that, but frankly, people ask me to perform surgeries, amputations, and pull teeth, and they pay me to do that. I believe the definition of a professional is someone who gets paid to do a service. So to say that did I go to school for surgery? Absolutely not. I mean, I don't know many surgeons who have.
All right. I would like to point out that Cornelius Smith has been paid for his services, which means he is a doctor and an expert. Just to make
I
sure
have no
that
question
points-
that he's an expert.
This
Frankly,
is just for the
he
field.
saved his life very expertly. I've said that many times.
But if you are not a doctor,
Yes.
why did you feel so comfortable operating on such a case that you knew you had no knowledge of?
Because as far as I knew, I was the only person in town that could do something for him.
Okay,
So I could have just let him die.
that is quite a true statement. How long have you been a barber?
A barber? Just about 10 years.
How long have you owned this shop?
5 years or so.
What is your connection to Yates professionally?
Mr. Yates, he rents me the space, and I have a mortgage that I pay every month. Like many other people in this, and everybody, there's many people in the audience that kind of nod and smile.
And for the past at least 5 years, this has been a connection that you and Yates have, correct?
That is right.
How much does he ask you to pay monthly?
It's a reasonable fee.
Do you have a number?
It's about, I'd have to look at my books. It's been so long. It's been 5 years that I've been doing it. But I think it's about $5 a month or something like that. It's reasonable.
What would happen? Would you believe you could still be a barber and surgeon without the building that you currently do it in?
Oh, I would probably find somewhere else to do it. It's a passion of mine, but the rates were fair and the people were nice, and so I stayed here.
But what do you believe would happen if you did not?
The building doesn't make me a barber.
Okay. But the building keeps you having the job that you have so you can continue living.
It allows people to come to a place that's safe and clean, sure. And I thank Mr. Yates for that.
So it's safe to say that you have a connection that if broken, would bring about a potential of negativity upon your life?
There would be a challenge, sure, of course. I'd have to go find somewhere else to do my business.
Judge, I would like to strike Leroy as a witness, as he is in direct contempt and has direct connection to Yates, and therefore cannot honestly give the correct answers, as his livelihood is dictated by Yates's money.
The judge considers her for a second.
And anyone else who he would like to call who has a direct monetary connection to him.
The judge says, well, that would constitute half of this town.
It would, actually.
Yeah, sure would. And so, but the question here isn't, Mr. Sullivan, whether or not Bartholomew is able to run his business.
You're correct.
The question isn't Mr. Yates in his position.
You're correct.
The question is whether or not you should be mayor. Not even that Yates should be mayor. There is no question, frankly, in this court today regarding Mr. Yates, his position, or Bartholomew's business, or anything like that. The question is whether or not, in sound mind, that the sheriff was able and capable of transferring title to you. And frankly, I hope you have something good, Sullivan, because he didn't even say what he was doing. He didn't even say sheriff or mayor. Unless you can prove that he was specific about what he was doing.
And there's absolutely nothing that you can do, because the only person who can prove that is him. And until he doesn't prove it, I'm still mayor.
No, actually, I believe until you can prove it, you are nothing.
I would like to call one final witness to the stand.
Fine.
The table he was laying on.
Hold it.
I love you so much.
Oh, that's good. I'm not sure exactly what you mean, and I hope this isn't a joke, because I hope you're taking the court seriously.
I mean exactly, and I stand up, as I have been saying. I would love to call the operating table that Borellian was on.
I really hope this is leading somewhere, because I'm about to throw this whole thing out.
Are you aware of the idea of magic?
Of course.
And you're aware that certain magic can do various things?
Absolutely.
And you're aware that certain magics can allow certain things that can't speak to be able to speak?
I don't know any sort of thing like that.
I don't think you do. I would like to call Nexus an automaton with the ability to speak to inanimate objects. And if you'd like to prove this, she can prove something to you, just to prove the validity of the request.
Well, this is a little offside, and people start to kind of like, what, talk, and they're like, what? This is crazy.
This is
my
our Legally Blonde moment, y'all.
Go ahead.
Fair enough. All right. Well, if you want to call the witness, you call the witness.
Hey, Archie, can you go grab the table for me?
Be right back.
Nexus will, or she's going to get the table. Nexus will come up and say, "Hello, I am Nexus."
Hello, and just because for entertainment value, I will allow this to happen, but for now, we'll take a short recess and we'll take a short break and be right back. And we're back. Archie drags the table, or carries the table, into the courtroom and puts it on the dais.
Gently, proudly.
And the judge says, I'm allowing this to go, but this better be good, Mr. Sullivan, because I will not have my court be a circus.
I don't think there's anyone in this town who is hired to be a circus performer, Judge.
Oh.
You need to check yourself.
That was a fact. That was not anything unless you
You
decided
need to
look
check
into it.
yourself.
I'm just saying.
You're not the lawyer yet.
Actually, I kind of am. I'm the sheriff, not the mayor, according to some of y'all.
The judge stands.
Oh my
I will
gosh.
throw you and everybody out of this town if you don't check yourself.
I have to roll a d20. If it's higher than something, I'm sorry. What is it?
It's a 5.
got real lucky.
Maybe we all did.
You also have to see smoke come out of his eyes. But they go back. And that smile returns. By all means. Next.
Hello, I am Nexus. She'll like wave at the judge.
Hello, Nexus.
Nexus will kind of like look. Nexus will look at Sully, and she'll look at the judge, and she'll say. Nexus will pause thoughtfully for a second, and she'll put her hands on the table, and I'm just gonna go ahead and cast the spell just like right away. So the table starts to sort of like softly glow as Nexus's hands sort of glow as well. But before she talks, she's gonna kind of like stand, so she's that was probably really great for the shot you're watching. And she's going to look kind of just in general, and she's going to say, many people discount objects. You might look at me, and you might see an object. But objects, much like the rest of you, they feel, they see, they hear, and they observe. But much like me, perhaps not in the way that many of you understand. I do not know if it is because I am, and she kind of shrugs, part object, or perhaps it is just because I have learned to listen in a different way than many of you. But I can speak to objects. And she'll sort of like deferentially bow. Judge, if you would like me to prove this to you before I begin with the table, I would be happy to examine one of your objects as proof of my skills. But I would also be happy to simply proceed with this table. I will leave it up to your judgment.
All right. I never had a table as a witness. Yeah. All right. She reaches back under her robe and into some sort of pouch or something, or pack or something on her. And she brings out a ring.
Okay.
And she gives it to you.
Okay. The Nexus will take it and and cast it as well. And Nexus will look at the judge and say, is there a question you wish the ring to answer?
Who did it belong to?
Nexus will ask the question.
Okay. Hi,
Hello,
I'm Ring.
I am Nexus.
No.
I hate to be a bother, but this is a very...
And the courtroom begins to like laugh, make a little bit of fun.
Nexus doesn't give a
Yeah.
single care.
Sure.
And she will look, and she'll kind of like very delicately like shake hands with the ring, and say, I am so sorry to bother you, but I have a very important question, the answer of which may predicate the lives of many people. You have the chance to save the world, as it were.
Come on, Judge! Throw it out! This is a circus! Give her a chance! And like it starts to like grow, and Judge's like, all right, everybody, just order in the court. Order. I want to see this through.
May I ask you who you belong to?
Right now?
And Nexus will ask, the ring would like to know, do you mean right now, or do you mean before?
For me.
Your previous owner, please. And Nexus will think for a second and say, perhaps if you cannot recall their name, as I am sure rings have many different words for names, you could tell me something about them. What it was like to be around them, what it felt like to be worn, anything you can remember about your previous owner.
Well, it was strong, hardworking, calloused, worked with wood, loved, loving, affectionate, long gone.
Nexus will look at the judge and like very cautiously say this because like she wants to make sure that she's like respectful. But she says, this ring was once worn by someone who was kind and compassionate and worked with wood and loved you very much. Is that helpful?
The judge doesn't break eye contact. And you see actually her well up a little bit. Please proceed.
And Nexus will say, thank you very much. And she'll like hand the ring back to the judge.
The judge kisses it and puts it back in her pouch.
I would like to break the game slightly in this.
Okay.
Can
About
we,
time.
for the sake of just time, say that Nexus somehow, like computering or animatonically or whatever, just can project what the table is saying so everybody can hear it, so I don't have to like relay everything the table is saying?
I can. We don't have to do a back and forth whole thing. I can tell you what the table says, and then you can.
Okay,
then we
perfect.
can say that that's what you relay.
Okay. Cool. So Nexus will kind of look down at the table and sort of like apologetically at everybody else, and say, hello, I am Nexus.
Hello, Nexus.
It's a very sexy table.
Kinky.
I am sorry to be a bother, but recently you witnessed a occurrence that is of vital importance to the safety of the town and, I suppose, by extension, yourself. May I ask you a few questions about what you remember?
Of course you can.
And Nexus is gonna kind of like look at Sully for guidance. Like, is there a particular question you would like me to ask the table?
Its connection to Sheriff Beryllium, and if it could tell in the moment of transference if the heartbeat was sound and if it seemed stable.
Okay. Nexus will puzzle this for a second, and she will say, Mr. Table, there are many ways we see and hear and feel. As a table, I am sure you are accustomed to feeling the sensation of hands on you and of sounds and memories being made around you. And so I would please bring your attention to yesterday? Was it yesterday? Yes. Yesterday, when a man was placed on you as several of my friends worked to save his life. Do you remember this?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell me what you felt as the man as my friends worked to save the man's life?
What was that last part?
Okay. As my friends worked to save the man's life.
What was his state?
What did it feel like?
Yeah.
You know.
It felt frantic, busy, touch and go, stressful.
Stressful.
The body on the table felt still most of the time, and frantic when awoken, and then still again.
Table. I'm so sorry. Recently, I had the opportunity to speak with a map. And while speaking with that map, I met both paper and ink. Table, if you might move aside for a second, I would like to speak with the blood that is on your top.
Oh! Oh!
You hear? Of course. Yes. 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 Yes.
Hello, I am Nexus. I am Table. Thank you very much. I may come back to you in a moment, but I thank you for your patience.
You're welcome.
Blood, do you know from who you have stemmed?
A multitude of people. Voices string out at once.
Okay. Shit. I thank you all for your attention. I am looking specifically. What was his name? Borellian. I am specifically looking for the blood of Sheriff Borellian. Are you present?
I am.
Very nice.
Stop this.
Hello, I am Nexus. I have a question for you. Yesterday, as you were spilled on this table, there was a moment in which your partner, Sheriff Borellian, bequeathed the town and the safety of its residents, including, I suppose, by extension, yourself, to my friend, Sully. Can you tell me, Blood, as you were belonging to Sheriff Borellian and therefore, I would assume, connected to him in some way, can you tell me if, as he made that request to my friend Sully, was he sure and confident and of sound mind in making the choice to determine that my friend Sully should take on the care and keeping of this town as you care and kept Sheriff Borellian while you belonged to him?
First of all,
Yeah.
well, before I left his body, his heart was pumping fairly steadily. And then it elevated. And then after the moment you speak of, it steadied again. Calm.
Okay.
So, yes.
Okay, Nexus will not. She will relay all of this. Just all of this will be relayed. And then she'll kind of just look at Sully and kind of like everybody and just be like, is there anything else you wish me to ask?
I think that's what we're going to get from the table and its parts.
Okay, Nexus will put her hands on the table and say, thank you all very much. I appreciate it. And then Nexus will like hug the table a little bit. Yeah.
I don't know if I can I relay it? If I may, could we also mention that, could you ask it if, when it was attacked? Oh, never mind. This wouldn't know it. Never mind, yeah,
No,
never
that's
mind.
Yeah, and so then Nexus will say, thank you, and like bow awkwardly and sit back down.
Now, before you sit down, I've got a few questions for you myself.
Yes, Judge.
My apologies.
No, not the judge. Sorry, that was Mr.
Oh, Yates?
Yates.
Okay.
My apologies. The table was under oath, not Nexus.
I am happy to answer questions if it is of benefit.
Thank you.
My apologies.
All right.
The table was the witness.
Then I will call Nexus as my next witness.
That's all you have to do. Just following decorum.
Pardon me if I won't be talking to a table, but I will speak to you. I have no doubt that you think you speak to objects, and whatever parlor trick this was when you spoke to the judge, perhaps you spoke to the ring, but let me ask the court one question, and that is, just as much as you state or suggested that Leroy was in my pocket or some sort just because I give him a place to provide business, how are we supposed to trust someone you came to town with yesterday who is also a close friend of yours and you all do business together?
Objection. This is not a question for the witness.
I'm just asking the court. I'm just making a statement. You had your time. And so what I ask is, can you prove to us that what the table and the blood on the table just said is what you revealed to us? Because I don't doubt that you hear it, but we have no proof that you have actually stated the truth of what this object said.
Nexus will think for a second.
No further questions, Your Honor. He moves over and the judge says, Well, all right. I think we've heard enough. You have one more witness. I've allowed this to go a little longer than I would allow. But you have one more witness to call. At that moment, the door opens. Yes. And in hobbles Sheriff Brilliant.
They're going to get him. Wheeler was going to go try to get his body, drag him in here. Yeah, that's great. Okay, perfect.
I'm gonna mosey over and just give him a big invasive whiff.
And as he walks in, he kind of slumps up against the side and he says, I may have something to say on this matter. The judge looks over. Yates kind of looks over, his eyes wide, not expecting this to happen.
I look at Beryllium. I also look at Archie.
I raise my hand. I'm looking. I'm looking directly at the judge.
Okay. Well, yes.
Permission to assist the sheriff. He's a bit unsteady on his feet. I don't want him to split his shifts.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, I was going to say,
Yes,
Wheeler
please.
was going to walk in
Yeah.
anyways. He was
Yes,
at the back,
please.
so,
Yeah,
okay.
Of
so I will
course.
go because he'll fall and then dip
Welcome.
on stitches.
Sheriff Beryllium and Mayor Beryllium.
I don't know. Am I allowed to?
Did he smell tangy?
Yeah, give me a
Oh, yeah. And Sully looks at you,
Tangy check. Let's go, Archie.
All right.
knowing that people know how to change bodies and stuff.
Yes.
21.
You get he definitely has a faint smell of beryllium.
A beryllium.
Yeah. You've smelled beryllium before.
Yeah.
And he smells faintly of beryllium.
But not tangy?
There's no tangy.
Okay.
Smells kind of like him.
Archie, could you just very carefully give me a hand with the sheriff?
I could hold him like a baby if you
Just
want.
because if he'll split his stitches, he could bleed out. So
Yeah.
I will bring him up and put him in the witness chair. Okay. Sit back down.
And as it happens, I'm sending a quick message to Archie. What you got?
He smells like himself. Kind of not tangy.
Well, this is probably the best we're going to get. Are you feeling okay to go to stand?
Yes, as well as I can in this state, yes.
Then by all means. Neil, wait for him to get over and make sure he sets down. How are you feeling?
I'm better than dead, thanks to Mr. Smith and Clint and Bartholomew.
Is Bartholomew Leroy's
Leroy.
last name?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was last name.
Yeah.
Can you tell the court what happened?
Yes, we had the bandits rolled in and I stepped out and you came to my aid and we all fought them together and no, that is not what happened. Roll that back. There was a bit of a tussle outside potentially and it was averted by us saying that we were going to have a conversation and we went inside and I stood with the bandit leader and we were having a conversation until I heard gunshots. At which point he shot me 3 times before I could draw. I blacked out. Next thing I remember, I was on a table.
Do you remember what the bandit looked like?
I do.
Can you describe it for the
Yes, he was a human, covered face, unfortunately. He was like a black and white bandana. He had a hat on. He had 2 6-shooters on his side.
And that's it. Yeah, that's exactly what we remember. Okay. When you were on the operating table, there was something you told me. Could you please tell the court what that was?
Yes, I told you that this town is yours and to protect it.
Sully's eyes look at Yates for a second.
And you see Yates, he's like slowly like shaking and clenching his teeth.
And what did you mean by those words, if I may ask?
I did mean that you be sheriff while I'm not capable.
Did you also mean mayorship until you were stable as well, or no?
I did not.
No.
But I am still conscious, and so you and I can manage this together. You can be my feet on the ground and my sheriff. And I hereby appoint Sullivan as my sheriff for the time being until I can get back on my feet.
Stop.
And I will continue my mayoral duties from my home.
And you feel that you are safe and sound of heart and of mind to do so?
Yes, but of course. At this point, Yates stands up and says, "That is enough here. This town has done this enough. It is time that there's a reckoning." All of a sudden, the ground begins to shake.
Oh, hell no.
The first person to sense any sort of change in smell is you. As that smell from Yates begins to grow and grow and grow, and you watch as Yates' face begins to transform from a human face to a gaunt, bluish-skinned facade. Drawn in the cheeks, his eyes and pupils turn bright red, and the ground starts to shake, and there is a crescendo of sound as people start to scream. At that point, without any sort of notice, Sheriff Borellian stands up and goes and puts his guns out and points them in the direction. I would like you all to roll initiative.
Oh my goodness. Come on.
Shard, ideally, please.
Oh, yes.
And I'm gonna add Brilliant. Is there anybody else I need to add to this order for you in initiative? Brilliant.
Borellian, Yates, for now.
Okay, so the sheriff and
Initiative. Oh no.
Or Cleor.
Who is that?
See, what's it?
What is your
Fives?
larcenous thing effect?
Deception, sleight of hand, stealth on a failed roll.
Those
like
those specific
those
things?
those
I
three
thought it said
specific ones.
Dex, not that.
Yeah.
Well, if it was the Dex, it is a Dex check.
and what did Yates? I'm so sorry. Yeah, what did Yates get for his initiative?
Yates got a 16.
16. All right, Yates is on, and I am going to add our. Well, I guess he's just the mayor now.
Rip.
Sorry.
Okay. And he rolled.
Sorry. Borellian got a 7.
Got a 7.
Actually, he gets advantage on
Okay.
initiative. That's a natural 20. So
Nice!
23.
So 20 what?
3.
Who got that?
Great. Brilliant.
Yeah, we take those.
All right. Let me just add their names so it's clear, and then you're good to go.
Okay. On first?
I'm so down.
Borellian's first?
He is.
Okay. Borellian stands his pistols on Yates, and you watch as just for a second, his body, wearing Borellian's clothes, shifts through Clint, and then shifts back to Borellian. And in Clint's voice, he says, "I'm sorry, y'all." And sets off 2 shots
At
Clint is the best
at
character.
Yates, of course.
oh my god. What the hell?
What?
When I
Justice for Clint.
when I die, I'm coming back as Clint. Just so you know.
Wait, I don't understand that.
Still
How
wait.
can he be Clint?
Clint wasn't. The body wasn't Clint.
Clint was never.
Body wasn't Clint. It was
a different
Right,
no.
but he was down when Clint helped us.
It's all very confusing.
I'm sorry. Just timelines don't work out for that. Sorry. I'll keep my mouth shut.
What are you saying? Borelli was down when Clint helped?
Yeah.
Yeah, but really,
Yeah.
Clint was in the room when you guys were
And
working
you
on.
sent him
3
to watch
hits.
the show.
He hits him 3 times. As Yates does this, and this black, brackish blood shoots out of Yates. That is his turn. And he's going to back up slightly to the edge of the dais as that happens. Who's next? Sorry.
Why does he keep doing that? It is
Wedler, you're up. Shiv, you're on deck.
Wedler. How many innocent people are in here?
Many. Dozens.
The doors are not open.
The doors are not open.
All right. Wedler's been at the back picking his toenails and his teeth, and like Court's boring him, so he takes a foot for his movement and kicks the door open
Yeah.
and yells, "Get out!" As Wedler, what are the walls of this place made of?
Wood.
Is it all wood? Okay. Wedler makes a run for Yates
Yeah.
and will toss his net on him. So he's going to make an attack. If it hits, he is now restrained and will take disadvantage, and everybody that attacks him will take advantage.
Nice.
Just a basic attack. I only rolled a 10. So I guess the net misses.
Okay. He kind of turns to the side and comes back. Sorry. Also add his orc bodyguards.
Oh.
4 of them.
Oh, 4 of them?
Please.
Shoot.
Oh, I forgot about them. Okay, yes, I will get them in there. Do you want them to all have the same initiative?
Yeah, 6, please.
Okay, 6.
Okay, I think it's low.
For now, that will be Wedler's turn.
Okay. Next up is Shiv. Sully, you're on deck.
All right. At this point, as people are rushing past him, Shiv's been also in the way back because he has no part in any of this, or at least doesn't know how to be a part. And so instantly, he's like, finally, takes out his gun.
Come on, Shiv.
Points it at Yates. One small thing he does before he starts shooting, he looks up and says, "Don't fail me now," and then shoots using his revolving musket.
Nice.
Let's go!
Ooh, okay, that was a 20.
Natural 20?
No.
Okay, dirty 20.
Just a hit is
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
I contributed.
Roll your damage. Roll your damage.
It's fine.
Was it a hit? First off.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, it's fine. So first for his action, it was a 3 piercing damage,
Okay.
and then he's going to use his bonus action to shoot again.
Okay.
So come on. That was a 23
Okay. Hit, obviously.
Nice.
for a 9 piercing damage.
Okay.
And then, let's see if I can do anything for bonus. Oh no, that was my bonus. And then he goes and, is there any like half or 3/4 cover?
I'd say a third cover with the dais if you want.
Oh, one, yeah. So I'll.
The dais. You can like crouch behind the dais and.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and do so. I'll run behind
Yeah.
the dais.
Okay.
Oh God.
Okay.
That felt so
That was
cathartic.
Shiv. Sully, you're up.
Those are 10
Sully
corpses.
looks at the difference in Yates. Is that something I've ever seen before?
Ooh.
Or no
Nature
one?
check.
Nature, sure. I'm just curious. I'm not really sure. Probably not. That is nature. That's a 7.
Yeah. No.
That's fine. I'll look at you and go, yeah, that fits. Just as ugly on the inside as you're on the outside. And I'll say, but I meant that as a compliment. And I'll wink and blow a kiss. And as I do, smoke comes out of my mouth as I bonus action puff the smoke.
Okay.
However, well, make a dex save, please.
Deck save. Natural 20
That's totally
for
fine.
23.
Great. Nothing goes through. However, the wording of this doesn't matter if it went through or not. As I use the meta magic option, enlightening spell, which I've used before. But just to reiterate, when I cast a spell that targets a creature, you can spend 1 sorcery point to learn one of your target's resistances or immunities.
Okay.
I would like to know 1 resistance or immunity that it has, if any.
Immune to poison.
Thank you. I'd say it doesn't care for poison. Scream that out loud, and as I do, you see. I say, you might not you might not care much about poison, but you'll care much about me. And I'll begin to rise off the ground as my body completely goes smoke-like and incorporeal as I use my ghostly form as an action.
Okay.
That's my turn.
Okay.
And I like float up about 20 feet.
Yeah. All right. Yates. Sorry. At the beginning of your turn, I forgot. Yeah. At the beginning of your turn, I'd like you to make a con save, please.
That is a 15.
Okay, you pass. The stench begins to kind of grow around the dais, and everybody smells this horrid stench of death. And it is that same stench that you smelled from him before, but now it's like almost overpowering as he does. And he is going to attack you, Sully.
Can he reach me?
Yeah, you're right there on the dais, right?
20 feet in the air?
Oh, you went 20 feet. I forgot that. You left his space then.
I was never close to him. We were never next to each other.
Opposite sides.
Right, you're on opposite sides of the
Yeah.
dais, probably about 10 feet apart. Yep, you're right.
But and then also let me say, this is town hall. We said it's about this. Yeah, I can go 20 feet in the air.
Yeah, you can go 20 feet. Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you for this luscious cabin being a
Yeah.
They're
very steady. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. He is going to...
And sorry, just really quickly, was that, just so I know, whatever he did, would that have been something with a poisonous or disease effect?
The poison, yeah.
All right, I would have had
Yeah,
advantage,
yeah, that's why I said that.
Thank you.
All right. He pulls a revolver, and it looks like this really kind of ornate one. It's got some gems in the hilt of it, and he points it up towards you, and it starts to, as he puts his hand on it, this blue sort of like energy starts to swirl around it, and he takes 2-3 shots at you.
Okay.
That is, sorry, hang on one sec. 16?
Nope.
That's not going to be enough. 11. And another 16. None of those hit?
Not at all.
Okay. They all go wide as he shoots at you up in the air.
What's going on now, Yates? Can't focus?
He's going to back up towards his orc bodyguards to where they're standing at the bottom of the stairs of the dais.
Yeah, stay right there.
Archie, you're up.
All right. I'm gonna look up at Sniff. Just a big old smile.
And I just point at Yates.
I smile at him and I look at my friend. I look back at Sniff. And I say, for them. And as I'm saying that, you just see these spikes starting to protrude out of Archie. They're dripping a lot of blood as they express from his body. He begins galloping on all fours. And as every step he takes, the spikes get longer and longer and longer. And he jumps up in the air and he pulls 2 off his back. And as he snaps them out, he just roars in pain. And he attempts to stab him right.
All right. Bring it.
All right, first one. This is going to be his main attack.
Yep.
Nat 20.
That is a hit.
So
Full damage on the first one.
full damage on the first one. So
Roll a
it's just
second.
D6 for his bite.
Okay, so 6.
And then plus that 1. So 7 plus
7.
So 7 plus 6. That's 13.
13.
And then with my bonus action, I'm gonna try and take one of these stakes and just put it right in his shoulder and hang on.
All right.
And that would be that 1. Can I make that reckless?
All right.
If not, that's all right.
Explain reckless again.
Reckless is advantage, but then things have advantage against me.
Right. But you would have had to state that you were doing it reckless before you did it.
It's true.
So unfortunately, that is in that one.
All right.
And I am going to say, as you come down with it,
Yep.
he grabs your arm and deflects it back at you.
Sure.
I'd like you to make a dex save, please.
Dex save.
Or actually, I would say, what did you roll to hit? It was an at one to hit. Roll a dex save.
Dex save.
What was the 24?
The first attack.
Oh,
Natural
because
20.
you're raising, so you got
Yeah.
2.
And
Yeah,
I was
that
gonna,
makes sense.
I was gonna roll it at advantage, but I was gonna do reckless, but the first one was a nat 20, so I'm like, I don't need to bother. Then I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. Can I see this happening?
That he's
Yeah.
deflecting, yeah.
All right. Well, as a barbarian, I can use my danger sense to have
Yeah.
advantage on
Sure.
dex saves that I can see.
Awesome.
So that's a 15.
All right, that's enough to evade it as he kind of tries to put it back at you, and you kind of deflect it to the side, and the thorn falls to the ground. Is that your turn?
That's my turn.
Okay, orcs. All 4 of them take out guns up in the air. 2 of them are going to shoot at you. That's a 22. And that's a 18.
Okay.
Both hits.
Are those 2 separate people or one
2
person?
separate people.
Okay. On the 23, no, on the 18, sorry.
Yeah.
On the 18, there is almost like a whisper of primordial, this language, this fiery language that starts to envelop them. And don't understand what it says, but it don't sound good. As I use my reaction to use ill-fated word, I'm gonna roll a d4.
Yeah.
It says I do it, and I will subtract that from the attack roll.
Okay.
3.
Nice.
That second one will not hit me.
Okay. So both of them don't hit.
The first, the 18 doesn't. The first
11 points on the 18. Regular damage.
Then that's
Piercing.
5.
So yeah, you get half. The other one, actually, the other 2 are going to shoot at you because you're attacking
Yep.
right at there. They just right beside, well, not beside you, but
Yeah.
that is not going to hit. What's your armor class? I rolled 2 3s.
16.
Neither of those are going to hit. Next up is Nexus, and then Smith. You're on deck.
Is Yates is visibly holding a weapon at this point.
Yeah,
Okay.
this glowing
Okay.
pistol.
Nexus is going to look over at his pistol, and she's going to say, "Hello, I am Nexus. I am sorry to bother you, but your owner is a dick." As she casts Unruly Item.
Okay.
And so I need Yates to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. Natural 20.
No.
23.
This guy.
That sucks.
Thank you, Forged.
Okay. In that case, seeing the spell fail, Nexus is gonna like pull over the table because
Yeah.
she was still standing by the table
Yeah.
and kind of use it as like a little hiding thing.
You under the table, or are you tipping it over?
I'm gonna like tip it over
Okay, and
do,
hide
like,
behind
a cool,
it. I
yeah,
love
you know,
it. Yeah,
cool
yeah,
action movie thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's gonna lay low for a second.
Love it. Smith.
Looking around, trying to work out what's going on, concerned for everybody, he reaches into his pouch and he pulls out 3 gold coins. And he just kisses them, closes his eyes and goes, "We really could do with your help." And he throws them as hard as he can up into the rafters.
They hit Sully. Just kidding.
They,
Damn it, Smith.
they hit. They separate in his hands. They hit the beams and they ricochet and go in all different directions. One lands in your back pouch. One lands in your pocket, and one careens off and then just sticks in the hat band of his bowler hat.
Love it.
The 3 of us have blessed.
Nice.
You're not gonna bless your life partner over here?
You're out of range. I can't get everybody.
Oh, you're right!
Am I not close enough to get it?
I can only do 3.
Oh.
Wheeler always getting the short end of the
I know.
pickaxe.
But then
He's sitting on the couch.
But then I will move towards using cunning action to disengage if necessary. But I want to interpose myself between Yates and the judge.
Yeah.
Because the judge hasn't had time to get
Yeah.
to it from the way.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. At which point, the rumbling hits a crescendo, and the entire floor of the town hall collapses downwards.
No.
And that is where we're going to end the session for today.
It hurts.
It'll especially hurt when my bless goes away
It's
instantly.
gonna really hurt when I blow up his bank.
Thank God for flying. Yeah.
Yes,
Now
blow
it's
it
gonna
up.
blow up
Yes.
his bank. You wanna get in a fight? Bye bank.
Chekhov's TNT.
Right.
All right, thank you everyone for watching. Make sure that you follow the socials of course, Kobold Press and the folks at the table. We haven't done that. All of their socials are in the descriptions. Make sure you check all these people out there. They're incredible, awesome people. And make sure that you subscribe and you share this as much as you can. Talk about it as much as you can, because if you want to see more of this, the support is greatly appreciated to get the word out, so that we can do a season 2.
Yeah.
So, love you guys. We'll see you tonight if you're a patron for the after show, shootouts and shoutouts. And then on Sunday for the general public who are not patrons, but you're going to want to tune in for this one. All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.